They're stealthy, they're clever, and they've mastered the art of survival in every corner of the planet. From frozen Arctic tundras to crowded city streets, foxes have found a way to thrive where other animals struggle. What makes foxes the ultimate survivors of the animal kingdom? Stick around, because once you understand their secrets, you'll never look at a fox the same way again. Foxes are among the most adaptable and widespread carnivores on the planet. Belonging to the family Canidae, which includes wolves, dogs, and coyotes, foxes are generally smaller and more lightly built than their relatives. The most well-known species is the red fox, Vulpes vulpes, but there are over 30 species of foxes spread across diverse habitats, ranging from the Arctic tundra to deserts, forests, grasslands, and even urban environments. Foxes have a unique combination of traits that make them fascinating to humans. They are intelligent, resourceful, and often portrayed in folklore as cunning tricksters, a reputation that is not entirely unearned considering their problem-solving abilities and capacity to adapt to human-altered landscapes. One of the defining physical features of foxes is their bushy tail, often called a brush. This tail serves multiple purposes beyond aesthetics. It acts as a counterbalance when the fox is maneuvering quickly, aids in communication through visual signals, and serves as a warm blanket when the fox curls up to sleep in cold weather. The red fox, with its characteristic reddish-orange fur, white underbelly, and black-tipped legs, is the most widespread canid species in the world, found across North America, Europe, Asia, and even parts of North Africa and Australia, where it was introduced. However, fox species exhibit remarkable diversity. The Arctic fox, for example, has a compact body, thick fur, and a white winter coat that allows it to survive in temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius. The fennec fox of North Africa, on the other hand, has enormous ears that help dissipate heat and sandy-colored fur that reflects sunlight, making it perfectly suited to desert life. Foxes are primarily omnivorous, which contributes significantly to their success as a species. Their diet is incredibly varied and flexible, including small mammals such as rodents and rabbits, birds, insects, fruits, berries, and even human garbage in urban areas. This dietary flexibility allows them to survive in areas where more specialized predators would struggle. They often employ a hunting technique known as nosing, where they use their acute sense of hearing to locate rodents beneath the snow or soil, followed by a characteristic high pounce to surprise and pin down their prey. Their hearing is so sensitive that they can detect the movement of small animals under layers of snow or earth, and some studies suggest that red foxes can even use the Earth's magnetic field to help them pinpoint prey, aligning their pounce along the northeast axis for the best success rate. Socially, foxes are more solitary than other canids like wolves or African wild dogs. They generally live and hunt alone, though they are not strictly antisocial. During the breeding season, a pair of foxes may stay together, and sometimes offspring from a previous litter may stick around to help raise new kits. Their territories are marked with scent glands located at the base of their tails, and while these territories are defended against strangers, overlapping ranges are common, particularly in urban areas where food resources are abundant. Foxes are incredibly vocal animals with a wide range of sounds used for communication. They can bark, scream, yip, howl, and make a series of guttural noises that serve different purposes, from attracting mates to warning intruders. One of the most famous and eerie calls is the high-pitched scream often heard during mating season, which can sound unsettlingly human and is sometimes mistaken for a person in distress. Reproduction in foxes typically follows a seasonal pattern. In most species, mating occurs in late winter, and after a gestation period of about 50 to 55 days, the female gives birth to a litter of kits. Litter sizes can vary widely depending on species and environmental factors, but generally range from 4 to 6 kits. The vixen, or female fox, is primarily responsible for caring for the young, while the male, known as a dog fox, may bring food back to the den. Fox kits are born blind and helpless, relying entirely on their mother for warmth and nourishment. By about 4 weeks of age, they begin to venture out of the den under the watchful eyes of their parents. By the time they are 3 to 4 months old, the young foxes start learning to hunt and gradually become independent. The intelligence of foxes is another trait that sets them apart. They are known for their problem-solving skills and have been observed engaging in behaviors that suggest forward planning. Urban foxes, for instance, have been seen using road crossings, understanding traffic patterns, and even taking advantage of public transport systems to move around cityscapes. Their ability to exploit urban environments has allowed fox populations to thrive in some of the world's largest cities, including London, Tokyo, and Berlin. In these settings, foxes have adapted to a nocturnal lifestyle, scavenging for food in bins, gardens, and parks while largely avoiding human interaction. Foxes have a long-standing relationship with human cultures around the world. In Japanese folklore, foxes or kitsune are believed to be magical creatures capable of shapeshifting into human form. They are sometimes considered benevolent protectors, and other times mischievous tricksters. Similarly, in Native American legends, foxes are often depicted as wise and clever beings. In European tradition, foxes have been emblematic of cunning and guile, a theme that persists in modern storytelling. This duality in perception highlights the complex relationship humans have had with foxes for millennia, seeing them both as pests and as fascinating symbols of wit and adaptability. Despite their adaptability, foxes face numerous threats. Habitat destruction, hunting, and diseases such as rabies and canine distemper pose significant challenges to wild fox populations. In some regions, they are hunted for their fur or called, due to concerns over predation on livestock or game species. However, conservation efforts and the fox's own resilience have ensured that many populations remain stable. Urban foxes, in particular, are increasing in number, adapting to live alongside humans in ways that would have seemed improbable just a few decades ago. Another interesting aspect of fox behavior is their playfulness. Foxes are known to engage in play for reasons beyond simple practice for hunting. They have been observed playing with objects, engaging in mock fights, and even sliding down snowy slopes for no apparent practical reason. This playful behavior is not only a sign of their high intelligence, but also serves as a social bonding mechanism, particularly among siblings. In terms of sensory abilities, foxes have exceptional hearing, as mentioned earlier, but they also possess a keen sense of smell, which is crucial for marking territories and detecting food. Their eyesight is adapted for twilight activity, giving them an advantage in low-light conditions. The vertical slit pupils of many fox species are similar to those of cats, providing enhanced control over light intake. This is particularly advantageous during dawn and dusk, which are peak activity times for foxes. The diversity among fox species is truly remarkable. Beyond the red, Arctic, and fennec foxes, there are species like the gray fox, which is unique among canids for its ability to climb trees. The gray fox possesses semi-retractable claws and strong forelimbs that allow it to scale vertical trunks in search of food or to evade predators. Then there is the swift fox of the North American prairies, a small, agile species that is especially vulnerable to habitat fragmentation due to its preference for wide open spaces. In South America, the crab-eating fox thrives in forested and semi-open habitats, often living near water, where it can feed on crustaceans and amphibians. The evolution of foxes is another fascinating subject. Genetic studies suggest that the red fox lineage diverged from other canids around 12 million years ago. Since then, foxes have radiated into a variety of ecological niches, resulting in the wide diversity we see today. Despite their relatively small size, foxes are apex predators within many of their ecosystems, filling crucial roles in controlling populations of small mammals and insects. Domestication of foxes has been attempted, most notably in the famous Russian silver fox domestication experiment, which began in the 1950s. Selectively breeding foxes for tameness resulted in dramatic behavioral and physiological changes over just a few generations. These foxes became more docile, developed floppier ears, curled tails, and even showed changes in coat coloration. This experiment provided key insights into the domestication process and highlighted how selecting for behavior can lead to rapid evolutionary changes in physical traits. Foxes have also been subject to numerous myths and misconceptions. One such myth is that foxes are carriers of mange that threaten domestic pets. While mange, caused by mites, can affect foxes and lead to severe skin infections, the transmission risk to domestic pets is relatively low when proper health precautions are observed. Another misconception is that foxes are inherently aggressive or dangerous to humans. In truth, foxes are generally shy and avoid human contact, posing little threat unless cornered or habituated to human feeding, which can lead to problematic interactions. Fox hunting techniques reveal a complex blend of instinctual behavior and learned strategies that have evolved over millennia. While many people picture foxes pouncing on unsuspecting rodents in open fields, their hunting methods are far more diverse and adaptable. One of the most iconic behaviors is the high-arching leap performed by red foxes, often referred to as mousing. This technique is not merely a physical skill, but relies heavily on auditory precision. Foxes will pause, tilting their heads and rotating their large ears to triangulate the faint movements of a vole or mouse beneath the surface of snow or dense grass. When the moment is right, they spring into the air in a near-perfect arc, landing. With pinpoint accuracy, foxes are patient stalkers. In woodland or brush areas, they use dense cover to approach prey silently, moving with a slow and deliberate gait to minimize noise. Their padded feet provide a quiet step, allowing them to get within striking distance before making a final burst. In environments where ambush is impossible, such as open grasslands, foxes will use bursts of zigzagging chases to wear down smaller prey or rely on strategic positioning near burrows, waiting for animals to emerge. Foxes are also adept at catching food for later consumption. They often bury excess food items in shallow holes, marking the spot mentally or with scent. This behavior is particularly useful in times of abundance, ensuring a food reserve for harsher conditions when prey becomes scarce. In urban environments, fox hunting behavior has shifted to accommodate human structures and habits. Rather than hunting in fields, urban foxes exploit trash bins, compost heaps, and even steal pet food left outdoors. Some foxes have learned to navigate human schedules, weighing garbage after dark to avoid encounters. There are documented cases of foxes timing their movements with city infrastructure, such as crossing roads when traffic lights change, or using footbridges to bypass busy streets. This remarkable behavioral flexibility underpins the fox's success in environments dominated by humans. Foxes are not just silent predators, but are woven deeply into the fabric of global folklore. Across cultures, they have been portrayed as tricksters, shapeshifters, spiritual messengers, and cunning survivors. In East Asian traditions, particularly in Japan and China, the fox or kitsune is regarded as a mystical being capable of assuming human form, often depicted as beautiful women who possess otherworldly wisdom and magical powers. Kitsune legends portray them as guardians, seducers, and sometimes as vengeful spirits. reflecting a cultural ambivalence towards their cunning nature. In China, the Huli Jing holds a similar role, sometimes benevolent, sometimes malevolent, but always powerful and elusive dot in Native American cultures. Foxes often appear as trickster figures, embodying cleverness and adaptability. The Plains. Tribes, for example, told stories of the fox outwitting stronger predators or teaching humans survival skills. These tales underscore respect for the fox's intelligence, rather than depicting it as a villain. In European medieval folklore, foxes were commonly associated with deceit and guile. The character Reynard the Fox became emblematic of cleverness, overcoming brute strength, a recurring motif in fables where he outsmarts wolves, lions, and even humans through wit and trickery. These stories reflect human admiration and wariness of the fox's elusive and resourceful nature. A dual image of the fox as both a wise guardian and a sly deceiver persists in modern media. In literature, foxes often serve as metaphors for cunning intelligence. From Aesop's fables, where the fox constantly schemes to get food, to modern books like The Little Prince, where the fox teaches lessons of friendship and understanding, they remain symbolic of wit and subtlety. In cinema and animation, foxes have taken on roles ranging from the charming rogue to the noble hero. Disney's Robin Hood, portrayed as an anthropomorphic fox, casts the character as a heroic outlaw who uses cunning to outwit corrupt rulers. More recently, movies like Zootopia featured a fox character that plays on societal prejudices against foxes being sly and untrustworthy, only to subvert these expectations by showcasing his integrity. The symbolic use of foxes in human culture extends into fashion, politics, and language. Phrases like sly as a fox or outfoxed are linguistic remnants of centuries-old perceptions. Historically, fox fur was a status symbol in various cultures, often associated with luxury garments. However, changing attitudes toward animal welfare and sustainable fashion have led to significant declines in the fur trade. Fox hunting, as a human sport, has long been a controversial tradition, particularly in Britain. Dating back to the 16th century, fox hunting with hounds became a symbol of aristocratic leisure. Mounted riders in red coats, accompanied by packs of specially bred foxhounds, would chase foxes across the countryside. Proponents argued it was necessary for pest control, while opponents decried it as cruel and unnecessary blood sport. The debate surrounding fox hunting intensified during the 20th century, leading to significant legal reforms. In 2004, the Hunting Act was passed in England and Wales, banning the hunting of wild mammals with dogs. While traditional hunts still occur, they now operate as trail hunts, where an artificial scent is laid for the hounds to follow. Despite the legal restrictions, the topic remains a flashpoint of cultural and ethical discussion. Ecologically, the presence of foxes in various habitats serves as a crucial balancing mechanism. In agricultural regions, foxes help control populations of rodents and insects that would otherwise damage crops. Their role as scavengers aids in the decomposition process of organic material, cleaning up carrion, and reducing the spread of disease. The removal of foxes from certain ecosystems has been shown to lead to imbalances, such as rodent overpopulation, which in turn affects plant life and other animal species. However, the introduction of foxes into environments where they are not native, such as Australia, has had devastating effects on local wildlife. European settlers introduced red foxes to Australia in the 19th century for hunting purposes, but the lack of natural predators allowed fox populations to explode, leading to the decline and extinction of several native species, particularly small ground-dwelling mammals and birds. This has made foxes a major target of pest control measures in Australia, where they are considered an invasive species. Efforts to control fox populations through baiting, fencing, and culling continue to this day. illustrating how human interventions can create complex ecological challenges. Fox vocalizations are as varied and expressive as their visual signals. Aside from the well-known scream, which is often heard during mating season and serves as a territorial call, foxes employ a range of sounds including yips, barks, whines, and growls. Each sound serves a distinct purpose, whether it's warning, intruders, calling to mates, communicating with kits, or signaling distress. Vocalizations are often accompanied by body language, such as tail position, ear orientation, and facial expressions, making fox communication a multimodal experience that is as much about posture and movement as it is about sound. One of the most fascinating aspects of fox behavior is their capacity for learning and individual problem solving. In urban studies, foxes have been observed manipulating objects to access food, such as flipping open trash bin lids or using objects as platforms to reach higher food sources. There are documented cases of foxes learning to unlock chicken coops, even navigating latches and bolts after repeated exposure. Unlike domesticated animals that rely heavily on human guidance, foxes develop these problem-solving skills independently, driven by necessity and curiosity. The learning process in foxes often involves a combination of trial and error and observational learning. Kits play a significant role in this cycle by engaging in play that mimics adult behaviors. Play fighting, object manipulation, and stalking. Games among young foxes are not only social activities, but crucial rehearsals for adult survival tasks. Urban foxes provide a living laboratory for understanding how wildlife adapts to human-altered environments. Cities offer abundant food, fewer predators, and sheltered dens in the form of garden sheds, abandoned buildings, and underpasses. However, urban life also presents dangers, including traffic accidents, human persecution, and the spread of diseases. Despite these hazards, urban fox populations are thriving, often displaying behaviors markedly different from their rural counterparts. Urban foxes tend to have smaller home ranges, higher densities, and altered activity patterns, becoming more nocturnal to avoid daytime human activity. Scientific studies have begun to explore the cognitive differences between urban and rural foxes, revealing subtle shifts in behavior that indicate an ongoing process of microevolution driven by city living. For example, urban foxes often exhibit bolder behaviors, less wary of human presence, and more exploratory when it comes to novel objects and food sources. This behavioral plasticity is a testament to their adaptability and provides valuable insights into how animals can adjust to rapidly changing environments. The concept of fox domestication remains a topic of intrigue. While foxes have not undergone the same extensive domestication process as dogs, selective breeding experiments, such as the renowned Russian silver fox study, have demonstrated that foxes can develop domesticated traits within relatively few generations. However, it's important to recognize that domestication is not merely about tameness. It involves profound genetic and behavioral changes that affect social bonding, stress responses, and even physical morphology. While some foxes can become accustomed to human interaction, they retain much of their wild instincts and behaviors, making them challenging as household pets. Nevertheless, in some regions, particularly in North America and Russia, domesticated foxes are bred and sold exotic pets. This practice raises significant ethical and ecological concerns, including animal welfare issues and the potential for escaped individuals to disrupt local ecosystems. Furthermore, domesticated foxes require specialized care, including large enclosures, enrichment activities, and diets that mimic their natural foraging behaviors, making them unsuitable for most pet owners. In conservation, foxes often occupy a paradoxical position. Globally, many fox species are abundant, and classified as of least concern by conservation organizations. However, certain species face localized threats that could push them toward endangerment. The Darwin's fox of Chile, for instance, has a restricted range and is threatened by habitat destruction and competition with invasive species. Similarly, the San Joaquin kit fox in California is considered endangered due to habitat fragmentation and declining prey availability. Conservation strategies for these vulnerable populations involve habitat restoration, creating wildlife corridors, and public education campaigns to mitigate human-wildlife conflict. The key challenge lies in balancing the widespread abundance of generalist species, like the red fox, with the protection of specialized, at-risk fox populations that require targeted conservation efforts. Foxes are also subjects of growing interest in scientific research related to animal cognition, behavioral ecology, and urban wildlife dynamics. Their complex social behaviors, problem-solving skills, and adaptability make them valuable models for studying how wild animals navigate increasingly human-dominated landscapes. With the rise of citizen science platforms, ordinary people are contributing to fox research by reporting sightings, documenting behaviors, and even setting up backyard cameras to observe urban fox activity. This collaborative approach not only enriches scientific understanding, but also fosters greater public appreciation for the role foxes play in urban ecosystems. As cities continue to expand, integrating green spaces, wildlife corridors, and humane coexistence strategies will be crucial for ensuring that foxes and other urban wildlife can continue to thrive alongside humans. The evolutionary history of foxes is a journey that spans millions of years, tracing back to a common ancestor shared with other canids like wolves, coyotes, and domestic dogs. Foxes belong to the family Canidae, but they are classified in a distinct group known as Vulpini, commonly referred to as true foxes. The red fox, Vulpes vulpes, is the largest and most widespread of these, inhabiting vast territories across North America, Europe, Asia, and even parts of North Africa. Fossil records indicate that fox-like canids have existed for around 7 to 10 million years. Early fox ancestors likely originated in North America before spreading to Eurasia via land bridges during periods of low sea levels. Over time, geographic isolation and environmental pressures gave rise to the diverse species we see today, each adapted to its unique habitat. For example, the Arctic fox evolved compact bodies, dense fur, and a metabolic system designed for extreme cold, while the fennec fox of North Africa developed enormous ears to dissipate heat and detect prey beneath desert sands. One of the fascinating aspects of fox evolution is convergent evolution, where unrelated species develop similar adaptations in response to comparable environmental challenges. For instance, the bag-eared fox of Africa, while not a true fox, shares striking similarities with the fennec fox due to their desert-dwelling lifestyles. This demonstrates how ecological niches can shape the evolution of species, leading to morphological and behavioral traits that reflect survival strategies in harsh environments. Foxes possess a combination of traits that exemplify evolutionary fine-tuning. Their slit pupils, for example, provide exceptional depth perception and the ability to judge distances precisely, which is crucial for pouncing on prey. Their whiskers, or vibrissae, are highly sensitive and help them navigate through dense undergrowth or assess the size of burrow entrances. The tail, or brush, serves multiple purposes. It aids in balance during agile maneuvers, acts as a communication tool through positioning, and provides insulation during cold weather when curled around the body. The dietary adaptability of foxes is another evolutionary marvel. As omnivores, foxes can shift their diet based on seasonal availability. In spring and summer, they may hunt rodents, birds, and insects, while in autumn, Their diet may shift to include fruits, berries, and even fungi. This opportunistic feeding behavior ensures their survival across varied and often unpredictable environments. In urban settings, this adaptability is on full display as foxes scavenge human refuse, raid compost bins, and even develop preferences for certain human-provided foods. In terms of reproductive strategies, foxes exhibit monogamous pair bonds. During the breeding season, though social structures can vary based on resource availability. In areas with abundant food, extended family groups may form, with older offspring assisting in raising new litters. This cooperative breeding strategy increases the survival rate of kits and strengthens the social cohesion of the group. However, in regions where food is scarce, foxes are more likely to adopt a solitary lifestyle, emphasizing their flexible social organization. Parental care in foxes is notably intensive. After a gestation period of around 50 to 55 days, vixens give birth to litters typically ranging from 4 to 6 kits, though larger litters are not uncommon. The mother remains with the kits in the den for several weeks, relying on the male to provide food. As the kits grow, both parents participate in teaching hunting skills through play and guided foraging excursions. Kits remain with their family, unit through the summer, and disperse in the autumn, establishing their own territories. Fox intelligence is a subject of ongoing scientific interest, particularly in the field of animal cognition. Studies have shown that foxes are capable of problem solving, memory retention, and even an understanding of cause and effect. In experimental setups, foxes have demonstrated the ability to navigate mazes, manipulate objects to access food rewards, and exhibit behaviors that suggest planning and foresight. Their ability to adapt to novel challenges, particularly in urban environments, points to a level of cognitive flexibility that rivals many other canid species. The Russian domesticated fox experiment, initiated by geneticist Dmitry Belyaev in the 1950s, provided groundbreaking insights into the processes of domestication and behavioral genetics. By selectively breeding silver foxes for tameness, researchers observed dramatic changes within just a few generations, including increased docility, changes in coat color patterns, and even morphological shifts such as floppy ears and curled tails. These findings supported the hypothesis that selection for behavior could drive physical changes, a phenomenon known as domestication syndrome. However, even the most domesticated foxes retained a degree of wildness, highlighting the deep evolutionary roots of certain behaviors that are not easily overridden by selective breeding alone. Fox communication is an intricate blend of vocal, visual, and olfactory signals. Beyond their famous screams, foxes utilize a repertoire of sounds to convey emotions, intentions, and warnings. High-pitched yelps can signal alarm, while low barks may be used to coordinate with mates or offspring. Body language is equally significant. The position of ears, tail carriage, and even subtle shifts in posture can communicate dominance, submission, curiosity, or aggression. Scent marking is another critical component of fox communication. By depositing urine, feces, and glandular secretions in strategic locations, foxes establish territorial boundaries, convey reproductive status, and maintain social hierarchies. These scent marks serve as a chemical bulletin board, providing information to other foxes long after the initial depositor has moved on. In urban ecosystems, foxes play a subtle yet impactful role in maintaining ecological balance. By controlling populations of rats, mice, and other small mammals, foxes contribute to the suppression of potential pest outbreaks. Their scavenging habits also aid in waste removal, though their tendency to raid garbage bins often brings them into conflict with humans. Despite these tensions, urban foxes have become cultural fixtures in many cities, symbolizing resilience and adaptability. Initiatives aimed at fostering human-fox coexistence include public education campaigns about secure waste disposal, wildlife-friendly urban planning, and discouraging the feeding of foxes to prevent habituation to human presence. Fox-related zoonotic diseases are a subject of public health concern, particularly rabies and mange. Rabies, though rare in foxes in many regions due to vaccination efforts, remains a potential risk, necessitating vigilance in areas where outbreaks occur. Mange, caused by the Sarcoptes scabiei mite, leads to severe skin infections, hair loss, and eventual death if untreated. In urban environments, mange outbreaks among fox populations can have significant ecological consequences, leading to fluctuations in fox numbers and impacting urban biodiversity. Rehabilitation centers and wildlife charities often intervene. In such cases, providing treatment and support for affected individuals. Foxes also face numerous threats from human activities. Habitat destruction through urbanization, agricultural expansion, and infrastructure development continues to reduce the availability of natural habitats. Road mortality is a leading cause of death among urban fox populations, as their territories frequently intersect with busy traffic zones. Additionally, illegal trapping, poisoning, and hunting persist in some areas, driven by misconceptions about foxes as pests. Conservation efforts for fox species that are endangered or have restricted ranges involve a combination of habitat preservation, legal protection, and community engagement. For example, the island fox of California's Channel Islands faced near extinction in the 1990s due to predation by golden eagles. A comprehensive recovery program involving captive breeding, habitat restoration, and predator control successfully revived island fox populations, making it one of the fastest mammalian recoveries on record. Education and public perception play pivotal roles in fox conservation. Misconceptions about foxes as dangerous or disease-ridden pests can fuel unwarranted persecution. However, through documentaries, social media, and grassroots advocacy, a growing number of people are learning to appreciate the ecological role and intrinsic value of foxes. Wildlife corridors, designed to connect fragmented habitats, offer a practical solution to mitigate the impacts of urbanization on fox populations. By providing safe passageways that bypass roads and developed areas, these corridors help reduce road mortality and promote genetic diversity through interpopulation breeding. In rural landscapes, farmers and conservationists are exploring non-lethal methods of fox deterrence to protect livestock while maintaining ecological balance. Techniques such as secure enclosures, guardian animals, and scent-based repellents are proving effective alternatives to culling. These strategies reflect a broader shift towards coexistence models that recognize the importance of predators in healthy ecosystems. The cultural symbolism of foxes continues to evolve in contemporary society. In folklore, foxes were once viewed with a blend of reverence and suspicion, but modern portrayals often emphasize their intelligence, beauty, and misunderstood nature. Social media platforms have amplified this shift, with viral videos and urban wildlife photography reshaping public perceptions. Citizen science projects that encourage individuals to document fox sightings contribute not only to scientific research, but also foster a sense of shared stewardship. Foxes have also found a place in environmental education programs, serving as ambassadors for broader conservation issues. By highlighting the fox's adaptability and ecological importance, educators can engage audiences in discussions about biodiversity, habitat protection, and the impacts of human activity on wildlife. As human development continues to encroach upon natural habitats, the fox's future will hinge on our ability to create environments that support both human and wildlife needs. This includes urban planning that integrates green spaces, policies that promote humane wildlife management, and fostering a cultural ethos that values coexistence over conflict. Throughout history, foxes have occupied a unique place in human culture, often embodying traits of cunning, intelligence, and adaptability. In Japanese folklore, foxes or kitsune are revered as magical beings capable of shape-shifting into human forms, often depicted as wise and powerful messengers of the Shinto deity Inari. These stories portray foxes as both protectors and tricksters, reflecting the complex relationship humans have had with these animals for centuries. Similarly, in Chinese mythology, the Huli Jing are fox spirits associated with transformation and immortality. These tales frequently explore themes of deception, loyalty, and the duality of nature, emphasizing the fox's role as a bridge between the earthly and spiritual realms. European folklore also paints foxes as clever and sly. Aesop's fables often feature foxes outwitting other animals, using their wits to overcome stronger adversaries. The medieval literary character Reynard the Fox became an enduring symbol of wit, prevailing over brute force, with stories that critiqued social hierarchies and human follies through anthropomorphic satire. These narratives, while entertaining, have contributed to the enduring stereotype of the fox as a trickster, a characterization that persists in modern media representations. In Native American traditions, foxes are seen through various lenses, depending on the tribe. For some, the fox is a wise and benevolent figure, a teacher of survival skills and a guardian of the forest. For others, it embodies mischief and teaches moral lessons through tales of its exploits. Regardless of these differing perspectives, foxes are universally acknowledged as creatures deeply attuned to their environment, symbolizing resourcefulness and keen awareness. Modern popular culture continues to draw on these ancient associations. From children's literature to animated films, foxes are often portrayed as clever protagonists or endearing sidekicks. Characters like Disney's Robin Hood, portrayed as a charismatic fox, and the red fox Nick Wilde from Zootopia, reinforce the archetype of the fox as a quick-thinking, morally complex character. These portrayals, while fictionalized, play a role in shaping public attitudes toward real-life foxes, influencing how society perceives and interacts with them. Climate change presents a growing threat to fox species worldwide, with impacts that vary depending on habitat and geographic range. The Arctic fox, for instance, faces significant challenges due to the warming Arctic. Melting sea ice and shifting tundra ecosystems reduce the availability of prey like lemmings, forcing Arctic foxes to travel greater distances to find food. Additionally, the encroachment of red foxes into traditionally Arctic fox territories, facilitated by milder winters, has led to increased competition and predation. Red foxes, being larger and more dominant, often outcompete or directly kill Arctic foxes in overlapping territories, exacerbating the pressures on these cold-adapted specialists. Desert-dwelling foxes, such as the fennec fox, face different but equally pressing challenges. Rising temperatures and prolonged droughts threaten the availability of water and prey species, altering the delicate balance of desert ecosystems. While fennec foxes are adapted to arid environments, the rapid pace of climate change tests the limits of their physiological resilience, pushing them into increasingly marginal habitats. In temperate regions, changes in precipitation patterns and the urban heat island effect influence the behavior and distribution of red fox populations. Urban foxes may adjust their activity patterns to avoid daytime heat, becoming more nocturnal and altering their foraging strategies. These behavioral shifts have cascading effects on urban ecosystems, affecting prey dynamics and human-wildlife interactions. Conservation efforts aimed at mitigating climate change impacts on fox populations involve both direct and indirect strategies. Habitat conservation and restoration are foundational, ensuring that foxes have access to diverse and resilient ecosystems. For Arctic foxes, this includes protecting tundra habitats from industrial development and implementing conservation corridors that facilitate movement between fragmented populations. Monitoring programs that track population dynamics, health indicators, and habitat changes are critical for early detection of emerging threats, enabling targeted interventions. Assisted migration is a controversial yet increasingly discussed strategy in conservation biology. This approach involves relocating species to areas where the climate remains suitable as their traditional habitats become inhospitable. While assisted migration poses logistical and ethical challenges, it represents a potential lifeline for isolated fox populations facing habitat loss due to climate shifts. Conservationists must weigh the risks of ecological disruption against the urgency of species preservation. Public education and community engagement remain vital components of fox conservation. By fostering awareness of the ecological roles foxes play and the challenges they face, conservationists can build public support for protective measures. Citizen science initiatives, where volunteers contribute data on fox sightings, health, and behavior, empower communities to participate actively in conservation efforts. Such programs not only enhance scientific understanding, but also cultivate a sense of shared responsibility for wildlife stewardship. Innovative technologies are also playing an increasingly important role in fox conservation. GPS tracking collars, camera traps, and drone surveys enable researchers to monitor fox populations with unprecedented precision, gathering data on movement patterns, habitat use, and social dynamics. These tools provide valuable insights that inform conservation strategies, ensuring they are data-driven and adaptive to changing conditions. Genetic research is opening new frontiers in understanding fox populations. By analyzing genetic diversity and population structure, scientists can identify isolated or vulnerable groups, assess the impacts of inbreeding, and develop targeted conservation plans. For endangered species like the Darwin's fox of Chile, such genetic studies are crucial in guiding breeding programs and habitat management efforts. Foxes also serve as indicator species, meaning their presence and health reflect the broader condition of their ecosystems. Protecting fox habitats often results in the conservation of numerous other species that share the same environment, amplifying the ecological benefits of fox-focused conservation initiatives. This interconnectedness underscores the importance of holistic conservation approaches that consider entire ecosystems rather than isolated species. Emerging concepts in conservation, such as rewilding, propose the reintroduction of foxes into areas where they have been extirpated, with the goal of restoring natural ecological processes. By re-establishing predator-prey dynamics, rewilding initiatives aim to enhance biodiversity, control overabundant prey populations, and promote healthier ecosystems. However, rewilding projects require careful planning to address potential conflicts with human land use and ensure the ecological suitability of reintroduction sites. Looking to the future, the success of fox conservation will depend on collaborative efforts that transcend national and disciplinary boundaries. Climate change, habitat fragmentation, and human-wildlife conflicts are complex, global challenges that demand coordinated responses from governments, conservation organizations, scientists, and local communities. International conservation treaties, cross-border wildlife corridors, and shared research initiatives represent pathways toward achieving sustainable coexistence between humans and foxes. At the heart of these efforts lies a profound respect for the adaptability and resilience of foxes. Their ability to thrive in diverse and often challenging environments serves as a testament to nature's ingenuity. Yet, their continued survival in the face of escalating environmental pressures will require a collective commitment to safeguarding the natural world. Through informed policy making, innovative conservation strategies, and a cultural shift toward valuing wildlife, we can ensure that foxes remain an enduring presence in our landscapes and stories for generations to come. Foxes play a vital ecological role as mesopredators, balancing ecosystems by controlling populations of rodents, insects, and other small animals. This regulation helps maintain the health of various habitats, preventing overpopulation of species that can cause agricultural damage or spread disease. In rural environments, foxes act as natural pest controllers, reducing the need for chemical interventions that can have harmful side effects on ecosystems. Their predation on rodents and insects contributes to maintaining soil health and agricultural productivity, making them quiet allies to farmers. Even when sometimes viewed as nuisances. In forested regions, foxes contribute to seed dispersal through their diet, which includes a variety of fruits and berries. By consuming these foods and excreting the seeds across their territories, foxes facilitate plant regeneration and forest resilience. This behavior not only supports plant biodiversity, but also enhances habitat complexity, benefiting a wide array of other species. In coastal areas, foxes have been observed scavenging on marine debris and carrion, playing a role in nutrient cycling between terrestrial and marine ecosystems. Urban ecosystems have become an unexpected but significant domain for foxes. In many cities, red foxes have adapted remarkably well, exploiting urban resources and reshaping urban food webs. Their scavenging habits help manage waste, indirectly assisting in urban sanitation. However, their presence in cities also leads to complex interactions with human communities, ranging from admiration and fascination to conflict and control measures. Managing human fox interactions requires a nuanced approach that balances conservation priorities with public health and safety concerns. Education campaigns that dispel myths about foxes and promote coexistence strategies are essential. Simple actions like securing garbage bins, avoiding feeding wildlife, and creating wildlife corridors within urban planning can mitigate conflicts and foster harmonious relationships between foxes and urban dwellers. Research into fox vocalizations has revealed a surprisingly complex communication system. Foxes use a diverse range of vocal sounds, including barks, screams, geckering, and howls, each serving different social functions. The infamous fox scream is often heard during mating season, a loud, high-pitched sound that can travel long distances. Geckering, a series of rapid chattering sounds, is commonly observed during aggressive encounters or play among kits. Beyond vocalizations, foxes rely heavily on scent marking to communicate territory boundaries, reproductive status, and individual identity. They possess scent glands near the base of their tails and on their feet, which they use to deposit scent marks on vegetation, rocks, and trails. This olfactory communication allows foxes to navigate social hierarchies, avoid direct confrontations, and coordinate with mates or kin. Body language also plays a significant role in fox communication. Subtle cues like ear positioning, tail carriage, and facial expressions convey a wide range of emotional states and intentions. For example, a fox lowering its body with ears flattened backward may be signaling submission, while an upright posture with erect ears indicates alertness and confidence. Observations of wild foxes interacting reveal a sophisticated system of nonverbal communication that underscores their social intelligence. Parental care among foxes is notably intricate and involves both direct nurturing and teaching behaviors. After birth, vixens, female foxes, are primarily responsible for nursing and caring for the kits, while the male provides food for the family. As the kits grow, both parents and sometimes older siblings engage in teaching survival skills such as hunting techniques and predator avoidance strategies. Play fighting among kits serves as a form of practice for adult behaviors. honing their reflexes and social skills. Foxes exhibit a high degree of behavioral plasticity, adjusting their activity patterns and foraging strategies in response to environmental pressures. In areas with high human presence, foxes often become more nocturnal to avoid disturbances. They display an ability to exploit novel food sources, learning to open containers, navigate complex urban landscapes, and adapt to changing availability of prey. This behavioral flexibility is a key factor in their widespread success across diverse habitats. Scientific studies on fox cognition suggest they possess problem-solving abilities comparable to domestic dogs and some primates. Experiments involving puzzle boxes, obstacle navigation, and observational learning indicate that foxes can apply past experiences to new challenges, demonstrating memory retention and innovative thinking. These cognitive traits are particularly evident in urban foxes, where navigating human-dominated environments demands continuous learning and adaptation. The study of fox social structures reveals a fascinating diversity across species and environments. While red foxes are often portrayed as solitary, they can form complex social groups, especially in resource-rich urban areas. These groups may include a dominant breeding pair, subordinate adults, and non-breeding helpers who assist in raising the young. Such cooperative breeding arrangements enhance the survival rates of kits and reflect the nuanced social dynamics within fox populations. In contrast, species like the Arctic fox exhibit seasonal social behaviors, forming pairs during the breeding season and leading more solitary lives during the harsh winter months. The adaptability of fox social structures to environmental conditions underscores their evolutionary success and the flexibility of their social strategies. Foxes have also become subjects of scientific interest in understanding domestication processes. The Russian fox domestication experiment, initiated in the mid-20th century, selectively bred silver foxes for tameness over successive generations. This long-term study provided valuable insights into the genetic and behavioral changes associated with domestication, revealing how selection for docility leads to physical changes like floppy ears, curled tails, and altered coat colors, mirroring traits seen in domestic dogs. The experiment also highlighted the role of stress response systems in shaping animal behavior. Domesticated foxes displayed reduced stress hormone levels, correlating with increased sociability and reduced fear responses toward humans. These findings have broader implications for understanding the mechanisms underlying domestication and the interplay between genetics, behavior, and environment. Foxes have been utilized in ecological studies as bioindicators, providing data on ecosystem health through their diet and pollutant accumulation in their tissues. By analyzing fox scat and tissue samples, scientists can monitor the presence of environmental contaminants such as heavy metals, pesticides, and emerging pollutants like microplastics. These studies offer a non-invasive method for assessing the impact of human activities on ecosystems, leveraging the fox's position within the food web as a sentinel species. The symbolism of foxes extends into modern conservation psychology, where they are often used as flagship species to promote broader environmental awareness. Their charismatic appeal and cultural significance make them effective ambassadors for conservation campaigns, helping to garner public support for habitat protection and biodiversity initiatives. By leveraging the public's fascination with foxes, conservation organizations can elevate the visibility of ecological issues and mobilize collective action. Efforts to integrate traditional ecological knowledge with scientific research are gaining momentum in fox conservation. Indigenous communities, with their deep-rooted understanding of local ecosystems and wildlife behaviors, offer invaluable perspectives that complement scientific methodologies. Collaborative projects that merge traditional knowledge with modern conservation. Science enhance the effectiveness of management strategies, fostering holistic approaches to wildlife stewardship. Educational programs focusing on fox ecology and conservation are being implemented in schools and communities worldwide. These initiatives aim to instill a sense of curiosity and responsibility in younger generations, fostering a culture of respect and coexistence with wildlife. By engaging children in citizen science projects, field observations, and creative storytelling, educators can cultivate future conservationists who appreciate the intrinsic value of foxes and their ecosystems. Technological advancements in wildlife. Monitoring continue to revolutionize our understanding of fox behavior and ecology. GPS telemetry provides detailed data on movement patterns, habitat preferences, and territorial ranges, while camera traps offer unobtrusive means of observing nocturnal activities and social interactions. Acoustic monitoring systems are being developed to analyze fox vocalizations, enabling researchers to track population densities and social structures through SOUNDSCAP. EASDOT as urban landscapes expand. Innovative urban planning that incorporates green corridors and wildlife-friendly. Infrastructure becomes increasingly important. Designing cities with interconnected green spaces, safe crossing structures, and community education programs ensures that urban fox populations can coexist with minimal conflict. Such initiatives not only benefit foxes, but also enhance urban biodiversity and improve the quality of life for human residents. Foxes are more than just cunning tricksters from folklore. They are ecological keystones, cultural icons, and living examples of adaptability and intelligence. Their ability to thrive in environments as diverse as Arctic tundras, dense forests, arid deserts, and bustling cities speaks to their remarkable resilience. Yet, this very success often masks the challenges they face, from habitat destruction and human-wildlife conflict to the spread of diseases and the pressures of climate change. Our relationship with foxes is a reflection of how we interact with the natural world. Through coexistence strategies, education, and conservation efforts, we can shift perceptions from fear and misunderstanding to appreciation and stewardship. Foxes remind us that wildlife does not exist apart from human society, but is interwoven with it, adapting to our changes and enduring our impacts. By understanding their behavior, respecting their habitats, and embracing their presence, we not only protect foxes, but also nurture the ecosystems that sustain us all. In the end, the story of the fox is a story of balance between wildness and urban life, between survival and coexistence, between myth and reality. As long as we continue to learn from them and respect their place in the natural world, foxes will remain a testament to nature's ability to endure, adapt, and inspire.